Hey, what's up, everybody? Um, every once in a while I like to read stuff. It's about 5 pages here, so it's a little long, but I like to. My channel's called Inform to Reform, so I'm always reading stuff. And right now, this is actually a book on diabetics, on like how to help cure type 2 diabetes and health, because health is a lot of things, not just food. So right now, the guy's tapping into a part of stress. He calls some stress outer stress, which is like outer stress we can't control a lot of times. Things that are happening outside of our lives, with our jobs or with somebody else, and how we get bombarded with like surprises and stuff like that. So that that's one part of stress. But then he's talking about the inner stress, and I thought he went real deep with it, and I feel like sharing it because this is something that it should make us all think. What I mean, reevaluate stuff that we have to do in our lives. So I'm gonna read it. I'll try to be smooth and cool with it, and try to, not make the video too long, but just take a listen to it, and just put this information that I show in my videos for you guys into yourself. This is for yourself first. Work on yourself, and everything else in your life will start to clear up and get better. Okay. So inner stress, on the other hand, is a different animal. It's there all the time, with few exceptions. Everyone is suffering from it. It stays with you wherever you go. What is this inner stress? It's the feeling of restlessness, agitation, emptiness, hopelessness, sadness, boredom, frustrations, annoyances, anger, hate, jealousy, insecurity, guilt, fear, nervousness, and anxiety. Where does this inner stress come from? If you pay close attention, you'll find that this inner stress comes from your own inner voice, the voice in your head that never stops even though you have nothing to solve. Often, you're completely unaware of it. It's like your mind is on autopilot. In other words, you think constantly. You have a busy mind that never stops. Thoughts then trigger emotions and create emotional stress for you. Therefore, it is logic to conclude that emotional thoughts are the root cause of your inner stress. And stress is deep, guys. I'm gonna keep reading, but like stress causes so many other diseases. The viscera in your chest, stress literally kills. If you've heard ever that thought, it really does, because it shuts down your immune system and all that things. And when that stuff starts to shut down, it can lead to a disease. So, what is the basis of thoughts? So now he's going to get into thoughts, because the thoughts are leading to the stress. So we have to always backtrack. What is this? What is that? Always search deep root in the problem, and that's why you have to search deep root from yourself. What is the bias of thoughts? Where do thoughts come from? While pondering over this question one day, I made a simple yet profound observation. We humans always think in terms of language. For example, if you know English and no other language, you will always think in English, not in Chinese, French, or Hindi. Just observe it right now, yourself. In order to think, you need to know language. Therefore, language is the bias of thoughts. What is the bias of language? Obviously, the next question is, where does the language come from? You were not born with it, right? You learn it as you grow up in society. You learn it from your parents, teachers, siblings, friends, and various tools such as books, electronic devices, and sometimes certain other techniques. What is a language? Let's use common sense and explore what is a language. It is a means of communication with each other. A language is comprised of words, right? And each word has a concept attached to it. In reality, every word is a sound. For example, listen to a language you don't know. All you will hear is sounds that make no sense. In order to make sense, you need to know the concepts attached to the sounds. In this way, we can say that a word consists of a sound and an attracted concept. Even written language has concepts attached to words. Even sign language has concepts attached to signs. Study the human body. Everything outside of you is frequencies, is vibrations, sounds. Vibrations make a sound. When I make that, that's going to make a vibration. And that vibration rings off your cells inside of you, and that gives you direction and stuff like that. Just looking forms of vibration, people, okay? Music, sound is just dust particles hitting your eardrums, and it sends a vibration to you, and then you hear it. What is the basis of concepts? Let's use common sense and find out where concepts come from. Concepts are the creation of a society, aren't they? When you grow up in a society, your parents teach you the language of that society. They utter a sound and point to a person or some object. They keep repeating it until you make a connection between that sound and the person or object. For example, as a baby, you hear the sound mama as your mother points a finger towards herself. After a lot of repetition, you make a connection between the sound and the person. She is no longer another life form, but mama. She provides you with food, comfort, and warmth. You get attached to her. Later, she provides you with toys, gifts, friends, cupcakes, cookies, money, and so on. And you get more and more attached to your mama. As you grow up in society, you are bombarded with concepts that society has created, such as the concepts of success, failure, achievement, money, fame, desirable, undesirable, mortality, responsibility, cultures, customs, religion, nationality, past, future, society, security, etc. Based on these concepts, certain thoughts may arise, such as concepts of losing, being a failure, an outcast, punishment, suffering, how one should and shouldn't behave, why did it happen, what if, why me, why not me, etc. All these thoughts trigger emotions such as fear, anger, sadness, jealousy, and guilt. This is how your thoughts create a huge amount of stress on you. Everything's created by somebody else's idea. I always tell a lot of people that talk to me, think of everything is someone else's idea. Like he's saying, some concept. Where did it come from? Why do you call this that? Why do you live this lifestyle like this? Why do you make these decisions? Who showed you to eat and talk like this, to eat this many times, to eat this, and so forth and so forth? Who is thinking? If you pay attention, you realize it is always I, the I, who judges others, who blames others, who is afraid of this and that, etc. It is the I who is thinking. Therefore, it is the I who is at the root of all your stress. Who is this I? We need to figure this out if we truly want to be free of stress. The virtual I. Who is this I that is constantly thinking and creating stress? You may reply, oh, it's me. Really? Let's take a look at this I. Can you show me where is it? It's in your head, isn't it? It's an abstraction, an illusion, a phantom. It is a virtual entity in your head that steals your identity. It is not the true you at all. What do I say that? Why do I say that? Because you are not born with this. In order to know your true original self, observe little babies, just a day or so old. I had the opportunity to be in charge of a baby nursery in my early career as a doctor and observed about 60 newborn babies every day. Later, I had a wonderful experience of having my own baby. When you observe little babies, you see that as soon as their physical needs are met, a full stomach, clean diaper, and a warm blanket, they are joyful from within. They smile and go to sleep. They have no past, or future. They are not worried if mom will be around for the next feed. If they did, they wouldn't be able to go to sleep. They don't think. Hence, there are no concepts, no judging, no anger, no worries. That's why they have no problem going to sleep. They are so vulnerable, but fear remains miles away. There is a total lack of control, but no fear whatsoever. Fear. Fear is implemented on the human species. Once their stomach is full, they don't need any more food. If you were to force more food than they need, they would regurgitate. They eat to satisfy their hunger, and that's all. Wanting more does not exist, and that's why they are so content. You could feed them breast milk, cow's milk, or formula. To them, it doesn't matter as long as it agrees with their stomach and satisfies their hunger. Pause there real quick. Y'all know I'm plant-based, so I don't agree with that last part. You should feed your baby nothing but the breast milk that comes from you. The mother absorbs everything natural and as possible good for her, so she gives it back to her newborn baby. Okay. The cow is made for the cow's milk. The formula is chemical created in a laboratory, and you can research each and one of those things, and they're not natural and not good for you. They don't say, I don't like your milk, mom. I like formula milk better. You won't hear, mom, you wrapped me in a pink blanket with butterflies on it. I'm a boy. Therefore, I need a blue blanket with pictures of dinosaurs on it. They are joyful just looking around. They truly live in the moment. They do it spontaneously without making an effort to live in the now. Why do I say newborn babies don't think? Because you always think in terms of language. Newborns know no language, and hence we can conclude babies don't think. They also have no concepts. Why? Because concepts arise out of language. No language, no concepts. Remember, every language that you speak is a language that was taught, whether you talk Spanish, English, Chinese, Hindu, Jamaican, you name it. It was taught to you by somebody, and that somebody was taught by somebody, and so forth. Look at a lot of the Egyptian pictures of the ancient cultures. A lot of stuff was painted or drawn. We didn't speak by language, we spoke by showing. Photographic memory, that's why we remember so good. That's why now in the age of technology, we can watch these videos and boom, 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 it just clicks. It's like photos, and then our brain goes in and it locks in like a library. Newborn babies don't like or dislike someone because of their color, religion, nationality, or wealth. That's because they have not acquired any concepts about religion, nationality, history, or money. Concepts do not exist at all. Likes and dislikes do not exist. There are no preferences or judgments, no embarrassment or shame. Excuse me. No anger, no hate, no wanting more, no prejudice, no fear, just pure joy, contentment, and peace. This is the true human nature. I like to call it the true self. The self that you and I and everyone else on the planet is born with. Now let's see what happens to this fearless, joyful, and peaceful baby. The acquired self. Gradually, another self develops as you grow up in a society. This we call the acquired self. You acquire it as a result of psychological conditioning from your parents and your school and then your society in general. As you grow up, this acquired self gets bigger and bigger. It gets in the driver's seat, pushing the true self onto the passenger side and later into the back seat and eventually into the trunk. As a grown-up, all you see is acquired self. You identify with this acquired self. That's who you think you are. This becomes a virtual I sitting in your head. Your identity gets hijacked, but the acquired self, instead of seeing the hijacker for what it is, you think that's who you are. How ironic. This acquired self is the basis for all your stress. It reacts to outside triggers, which it calls stressors, and blames them for your stress. In fact, it is the acquired self who reacts to triggers and creates stress for you. In this way, the real source of all stress actually resides inside you. It is good to know this very basic fact. Why? Because if the source of stress is inside you, so is the solution. This acquired stress torments you and creates stress even when there is no stressful situation. It conveniently creates hypothetical situations, the what if syndrome, to make you fearful. I like to call it a monster, as it is quite frightening and appears strong, but in the end, it is really virtual. Sadly, you don't even have a clue what's going on, because you completely identify with the acquired self, the mastermind behind all your stress. You could call it the enemy within. Unfortunately, you're completely out of touch with your true self, the source of true joy, contentment, and inner peace. In the total grip of the monstrous acquired self, you suffer and create stress not only for yourself but for others as well. Last paragraph. The making of the acquired self, the virtual I. Where does the acquired self come from? It comes from psychological conditioning from your society as you grow up. Psychological conditioning, guys. In this way, you acquire self in the offspring of your society, which itself is a collective acquired self we call the society's collective acquired self. Your acquired self starts with the virtual I, which is actually a concept that gets downloaded in your head. Read that one sentence one more time. Your acquired self starts with the virtual I, which is actually a concept that gets downloaded in your head. Study how your vision works, guys. Your parents carefully select a label for you. You're born, got a birth certificate, your parents have to sign it, you get attached a number, a sex, a color, a name, Sounds familiar? You're a product. They call it your name, which is basically a sound. Because when you say the name, it's a sound. It's a vibration. Your parents utter this sound as they point towards you. So you end up being mastered like a slave without your parents even knowing it. People tell your parents are doing it, your parents are doing it. After doing it repeatedly, finally succeed in drilling into your head you are indeed Peter, Sarah, Ali, or Rakia. At the same time, they also drill the concepts of mama and dada. As you grow up in society, you acquire more and more concepts, which circle around the concept of I, just like the layers of an onion. Now, there's a lot more, but I'm not going to go. I'm already 15 minutes into the video. I hope you listened through the whole thing, and I got in between a little bit. I just felt like reading that out to y'all because it goes into a lot what I tell y'all about. Study who you are, study your true self, learn knowledge of self, study cells, study what cells are. Then you're going to study that you're the only one that exists within inside of you. Study how your vision works, how your mind works, all the thoughts, where they arise from. Study language, study sounds. All that stuff he talked about, stuff I'm talking about. Peace and love. In here to reform you by informing you. Peace.